Thank you very much, Bernie. Thank you all for joining us here today. In 2006, Senator Rand Paul and I brought a resolution before the United States Senate to object to an arms sale to Saudi Arabia that was going to be used in a war inside Yemen that, frankly, very few people in the United States Congress knew anything about, never mind the American public. That resolution of disapproval got just over 20 votes in the United States Senate. And so I am so thankful for Senator Sanders and Senator Lee's leadership, such that just a month ago we were able to convince the majority of our colleagues, finally, after years and years of pressing this case, that this is no longer in the security interests of the United States, nor is it allowable by the Constitution for our country to be involved in this war inside Yemen. From a moral standpoint and from a national security standpoint, the war inside Yemen is a disaster for the United States. Bernie laid out the humanitarian nightmare that exists inside that country today. Let me say the number again: 85,000 children under the age of 5 have died of starvation and disease because of a man-made humanitarian catastrophe that has been in part supported by the United States. But second, this is a national security nightmare for the United States. Yes, every single one of those bombs is stamped with "Made in the USA." And Yemenis know this. They don't see this as a Saudi bombing campaign. They see this as an American bombing campaign. And it is no coincidence that over the course of the last 3 years of this war, Al-Qaeda and ISIS have both grown and grown in strength inside Yemen, as the chaos of the civil war creates space for them to expand, and young Yemenis get radicalized against the United States, the very country that is bombing them. And so we hear over and over again that the number one priority of our national security policy should be protecting the United States from attack again from radical extremist groups who may seek to do harm to us. Well, if that is your number one priority, then the United States needs to get the hell out of Yemen, where we are increasing the likelihood, not decreasing the likelihood, that we will once again be attacked by the most lethal harm of Al-Qaeda, which is stronger than it was 3 years ago inside Yemen. The administration concedes to the humanitarian catastrophe. The administration concedes to the fact that the extremist groups inside Yemen have gotten stronger. The reason they present to us that we should continue our support for this bombing campaign is that the Saudis are an ally. What kind of ally kidnaps a resident of your country who is seeking our protection, brings him into a consulate, chops him up, and makes him disappear? The nature of this alliance has been exposed over the course of the last 30 days. The Saudis lied to us for 2 weeks about what happened to Jamal Khashoggi, just as they were lying to us for years about their true intentions in Yemen. They told us that it was a mistake over and over again, that they were hitting civilian targets, that they were hitting churches and weddings and schools and water treatment facilities, when in fact, many of those were not mistakes. They were deliberate attempts to try to rain terror on the Yemeni people to force the Houthis to the bargaining table. Lastly, to underscore the point that has already been made over and over again, we do believe that this war is illegal, that it is not allowed by a constitution which vests in the Congress the power to declare war. And admittedly, war declarations are very difficult these days because we don't have armies marching against each other across wide open battlefields. We very rarely have neat peace treaties that wrap up hostilities. But just because declaring war is hard doesn't mean that the Constitution doesn't still require us to do it. If Congress cannot muster the political will to declare war in a far-off place, then the president cannot perpetuate that war. And these days, that is worth reminding to our colleagues over and over and over again.